Hey everybody, welcome to Dad Casual, where full-time dads and casual gamers come together to talk about the games we wish we had more time to play. Thanks for being here. It's another awesome week. We've got like a mountain of news to talk about. It's been a little bit since we did our last recording, and this time it's beautiful. Look at all the good video content. Thanks to Preston and Houston for doing graphics and all of the things that we've been doing. We're really excited. We're going to be going full time with video, and we're super excited you're here. We're going to be talking about Atomic Heart today. We're going to be talking about the reviews for that and the Metacritic scores. We're going to be talking about a new romance between Microsoft and Nintendo and that budding love. WWE 2K23 news. A big update this month in February for PS Plus Extra and Premium tier subscribers. There's a state of play tomorrow, and we're getting a little thoughts on PSVR 2 now that it's out, the reviews that are out there, and our thoughts as dads who don't have the console yet but are interested in it. And I don't know if it's on a dad budget yet. So, but without further ado, here's the guys. It's Preston.
What's up? What's up?
And Houston.
Hey there.
So
how's it going in video world?
Up, guys. We've done a video episode before, but it's never been this polished.
Definitely polished, and definitely took.
And this is all happening live. So maybe one day we'll invite you guys to watch.
We have
live when it happens.
One viewer right now.
Oh, we do. Shout out
my wife.
No girls.
Dang.
Right. But yeah, welcome to the new format. This is going to be kind of how we're moving forward. Yeah. And I'm really excited about that because it means we don't have to edit after the fact. It's all live.
Yeah. And I would heavily encourage, if you're a podcast listener, like this is your chance to like jump on YouTube, because we're going to be having, it's not just going to be our beautiful faces, but like we're going to be able to live react to content. We're going to be able to actually show footage of the games we're talking about, maybe do other things as well. Eventually let's plays and things that we've always wanted to do. But it's pretty exciting. But yeah, outside the podcast, how have you guys been? What have you been up to?
Just working, living life, playing some games.
Yeah, me too.
Dealing with a restless 3-year-old.
Oh,
yeah, man. What's up with that? She just can't, she's reverting.
I don't know. She's like acting like a newborn lately, where it's like she'll like at least sleep for a couple hours and then wake up until like 2 a.m. and then finally like pass out from exhaustion. But I think it's like some stomach bug or whatever that she's just been dealing with.
Yeah,
dad stuff.
That sucks,
dude. I never get so a funny thing I tease my wife about is she always says that she'll be able to, like, if the baby at any point, but in the first 2 or 3 years would stop sleeping, she'd be like, oh, this is the 18-month, 2-week sleep regression. And I was like, can't you just say like, oh crap, it's just she's not sleeping again? Like, I feel like there's no actual pattern to it. It's just, oh, she's not sleeping well for some reason these 3 days.
Yeah. I would say
I don't know.
I'm 38 years old, so I'm on my 456th month sleep regression.
There you go.
Yeah.
Constant, just living in it.
Can you ask your wife? Is that medically accurate?
Is it okay to, I obviously want to honor my wife. Sometimes I feel like I never want her to feel like I'm talking bad about her. I love you, honey. I think it's amazing that you track things so well. That's just real life is all I'm trying to do. Be really transparent about the things that spouses talk about.
Yeah. Our wives are rock stars. They let us do this.
But sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying our wives are rock stars for letting us do this because it is a lot of late nights.
Yeah, my wife is like literally in the room behind me right now watching my daughter while she's like screaming and staying up, and that's incredible. So
rock star.
Yeah, I owe her big time, as always. But yeah, in other news, I've been playing more dragon-related video games.
Like
the only
Shrek?
2 games I'm playing currently are dragon-related. You guys know I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, been still digging into that. And there's another one that's dragon-themed that maybe we'll talk about later.
Yeah. So Yakuza Like a Dragon, you said something this week to us that it's bridging like into your top games of all time list.
I think it's top 15 now.
Dang.
Ooh, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. So I recently found the first major mini game inside of it, and so it's a Japanese RPG with some like quick time fighting elements, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit unique. It's a bit tongue in cheek, kind of South Park. I said that. But I just found like a really well fleshed out business management mini game that's like super addictive and really gamified. And so it's like I don't know, it's kind of like playing like slots almost. Like it kind of gets you going and like it makes you want to come back to it over and over again. And then I found out that there's a Mario Kart copy in the game as well that I'm really excited to get to later.
You know what would be a fun subject for a future podcast that I think we'd want to prepare for, but what's your favorite game within a game? Like, like because some games have like very in-depth games within them. I can think of like The Witcher has a really good one called Gwent. And there's like, I mean, there's a ton of those that you're like, man, I like the game, but I really love this. So that could be a fun future topic.
I think the next slow news day we might just do that.
Yeah, gameception, game within a game within a game.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Preston, how about you, man?
Oh man, Christine's birthday is next week, so
happy birthday, Christine!
Happy early birthday! Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, planning for that, having a little thing at the house, and then doing a family dinner a different night. So that should be fun. I pressure washed the back patio house tonight.
You've been doing like some like side chore related stuff a lot lately, like hustling. I feel
just trying to keep the peace. Not really.
Well, we had Monday off randomly for President's Day, which is like not normal.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of, I think, Preston, why you got a lot of this done. Like for this,
because my kid was still in school.
That's awesome. My kids were not, and God bless them. But we live in Louisiana, and Mardi Gras. My kids are off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm like, it's just another break that like I don't get off all those days. But I was happy to have off Monday. Yeah. We had a really good family day.
Nice.
Yeah, y'all did a whole family day night.
Yeah, we did like a movie night that night. We tried to watch we'll get into the news in a second, but I was like, oh, you know what a fun family movie is? And I looked up I was like, oh, it's PG. Big. You know the movie Big?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
with
old
Tom
school
Hanks?
PG though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That movie would not be PG. Like there are some moments in that movie that I was like, I don't remember this.
It's early 90s, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, deep down, I'm like, I watched it as a kid and it all went over my head.
Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of why they may have rated it that way.
Yeah.
I wonder if it went over your kids' heads too.
Oh, it's 88, actually. I love that movie.
Yeah. It's so good. And honestly, they actually, what ended up happening is it wasn't just too mature for them. It was mature for them and like, it didn't keep their attention. They wandered off.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually see most of the inappropriate scenes.
Fun fact, I went to New York less than a year ago and played on the piano thing from Big.
Oh,
that's at FAO Schwartz?
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
That's cool that they have that there still, because they probably kept that after that movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is a staple now.
A hallmark. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Do you know who exclusively carries those toys now? The FAO Schwartz toys is Target.
Interesting. That's like they have their own brand of toys.
Mm-hmm. And they are super pricey.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. When I went there was a guy dressed up as like a toy soldier with like the waxed beard and everything, like full get up, like in April.
Oh,
like all year round, they have somebody like that.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all good.
Fun fact.
So let's talk about some video games, guys. What have you guys been playing? I know you just mentioned Houston, some things you've been playing. Preston, have you been getting some game time in?
Yeah. I'm still playing Hogwarts. That's kind of been my when I have free time to play, that's what I'm playing. But
yeah. And for those who don't listen, so like we last week gave a pretty deep dive. I mean, I think I was at the time 20 something hours in. And like that's kind of where our reviews live, that we're casual gamers and that not even we're going to give our reviews as gamers who don't even complete games most of the time, which is what a lot of people do. I mean, to be honest, a lot of dads, a lot of people, a lot of casual gamers, even if you're not a parent, I think a review is helpful from the point of view of someone who maybe didn't finish the game. Because if you have to get to the 70-hour point before a game gets fun, well, that's not necessarily a good thing, right. So it's nice to have a review from a casual perspective, which, as we've done this podcast, I have found myself becoming a little less casual just because I'm giving this my all, but I'm still a dad, and so and I'm not getting paid to do this, so it's still
If any of our
Wait, you're not?
listeners, Christine out there, would like to donate,
It makes me think of the We Are the Millers, where he's like,
You guys getting paid for this?
You guys are getting paid? You're making $300,000?
Well, man, it can't hurt to talk about Hogwarts right now. It's like the biggest video game in news history in the past like 6 months. I feel it's just been all over the place.
So a few things I want to add, and so I've kind of already sung its praises. I kind of would like to talk about a few more negatives, if that's all right. I have with the game, but more in tongue in cheek.
Mhm.
If I hear my character in Hogwarts Legacy say, "All roads lead to Hogsmeade,"
one more time.
or
yes,
or
it's beautiful, or whatever they say.
A Merlin trial? Ooh, like the thing, or the flu powder lady.
Yes,
You wouldn't know how hard it is to travel before I invented flu powder. I'm like, stop with
That's incredible.
There are these repeat lines that just constantly happen. And my favorite one happened last night after we set up our stream. I played for 30 minutes and I played this level. I'm walking up to like one, the hamlets, the small towns.
Mhm.
Sure.
I'm walking up to it and it's a story mission and it is under full attack by goblins. And I'm not going to say more than that, but it's like fire and people. And my character goes, it's like straight out of a storybook.
That's incredible.
And I was like, no, that's not when you're supposed to say that.
The one that I think is funny is the one that's, ooh, Hogsmeade is cozy. And I'm like, no, just stop.
But I'm like, stop saying these things, man. I've heard that PC actually has some mods to disable those things. But as a PS5 player, I do not have that. But I'm really enjoying the game. It's great, man. It's I think it's on track to absolutely beat any game from last year, probably, as far as sales numbers goes. That includes Elden Ring and God of War. I think just because the IP and the critical success is bigger than those things, I think it's going to outsell them.
That's awesome. I think I saw on Twitter today that the what did I send you guys? Hogwarts Legacy opening week was 56% bigger across Europe than Elden Ring. I'm
genuinely not surprised. It's as good as that game was, and I think did deserve Game of the Year. I don't think it's still a niche title. In a way that I don't think Hogwarts is as niche.
Yeah. No, not even close. And Elden Ring really, I think it's so impressive because it had to earn that spot.
Yeah. And I will say Elden Ring is the most accessible of that genre so far from FromSoft. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Just Hogwarts. I mean, my kids could play Hogwarts. They could pick it up and play it right now. It's not even that hard, really, which is kind of sometimes why I am down on it, that like it's fun to play a game and feel really powerful. But sometimes I feel like it's fun to earn that.
What
and
difficulty?
Kind of like right out the gate, even though you don't have all the spells, and that's so fun. It's getting all the spells. Mm-hmm. You kind of are amazing right out the gate. Like you can just it's not
gotcha.
So, like at times the combat's hard and you have to have some reaction skills. And like I've gotten hit and almost died, but it's actually really easy to heal. Like I don't know. It is. I think it's kind of hard to die. I don't think I've ever died.
Well, now I feel bad. I've died quite a few times.
I think Andy is the best gamer out of us three, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true. I think it depends on the game.
I've seen you play. It's definitely true.
I think I could beat him in any sports game.
Yeah, I guess whenever I play online anything, I'm just like, oh god. So
I think online's a great equalizer, but I think just like general game mechanics, I think you have a firmer grasp on them from what I've seen.
Maybe. Well, so that's Hogwarts, and I don't want to keep going on that. I love it. I mean, at the end of the day, we've given our impressions enough on the show. I did want to talk about one more thing. I played some more It Takes Two, and I know I've talked a lot about that too. But I wanted to talk about a moment I had with my son where we were playing actually two moments, and we have to keep playing Houston because there's one experience that I want to share with you that was horrifying. Like literally, I was like, this is not okay for kids. Like, this isn't okay. And I don't want to spoil it because I don't know if I'm probably okay. I just want you and I to share that moment genuinely, Houston,
Okay.
So cute.
before I talk about it on the podcast. But I genuinely was like, I don't like this scene. Can this be over now? I need this to be over now.
Oof.
Dang.
That does sound intense. I mean, I know it's not a kid's game. Like, it's definitely like, is it rated T? It's not like, it's not M. I know that, but there was some pretty
I'll look it
obvious
up.
like adult overtones when we were
Mhm.
playing, and they were kind of starting to more like creep it more. I mean, the game's about divorce, and it's like a pretty
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
topic. So yeah, I
Yeah,
can imagine it can go to some pretty dark places.
we just have to jump on it. We probably could get there in a few hours where it was, but
Okay.
the it's just ridiculous. But
It is teen,
um,
Houston.
but I recently got to a part of the game where the whole game, we talked about game within a game, turned into like a Diablo
Yeah, you were saying that. Okay.
like it was legit. No longer could you jump. You were walking like Diablo. You had like a square, triangle, and circle were all special moves, and we each had different ones. And
Nice.
like, and they had cooldowns. So like your circle had a big cooldown, and you'd have to wait. And like it totally. I was like, this game keeps transforming, and I really understand why a few years ago it got Game of the Year. Like, I really, in hindsight, the more I play it, I'm like, this game just keeps going up a peg. And Preston, I like heavily like. I think Preston, you should try it with Christine. Like,
Yeah.
just see. I don't know.
Yeah. So one of our Christine and I's mutual friends works at EA, and he told us the same thing, that we would like it.
Or again with your boy.
Not yet.
I know I just gave the impression that there was like a grown-up scene. It more was just like dark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for me. So yeah, if you guys want to talk, we can go ahead and pivot right into the news of the week, and we have quite a bit to talk about. So speaking of Hogwarts Legacy, our first news item of the day is that Hogwarts Legacy director says there's no DLC planned.
Dang.
This comes from Andy Chalk at PC Gamer. He says that we've been really heads down bringing Hogwarts Legacy to life. So at the moment, there are no current plans for DLC, Tew said over the weekend at IGN FanFest.
So my first question is, DLC for you guys, does that mean exclusively paid? Because in the past, that's what I've seen, whereas an update may be like non-DLC.
Yeah, I think that's the connotation.
Okay.
Usually when someone says DLC, it is additional content, not like update to me means like you don't even really have the option to get it or not. Like next time you boot up the game, it's going to be like, there's an update. You should do the update. DLC is like, do you want this? Like it's an optional thing.
Yeah. But so one of the things that I feel like everybody has wanted is Quidditch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not in the game. So that could be an update, right?
I think that could. I doubt that. I mean, maybe they could have a free update. I guess that it just depends on, because DLC stands for downloadable content,
Right.
So
it's not always paid, but
I would call that, if it was a new gameplay, I would personally call that DLC, free DLC or paid DLC, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I would call that DLC. But if it was like, hey, there's a photo mode in the game now, I'd be like, I don't know if that's DLC. That's just an update. You know what I mean? Like it's not new gameplay.
A photo mode would be amazing, by the way.
They might already have it.
Oh,
does it? I'll check. But yeah, Quidditch is one. And the honest truth too is they might be saying, well, we already have plans for the next game, not DLC. Like
right.
Like
Another
I thought several times, I'm like, where's Diagon Alley, and like going back to Gringotts, and where, like, there's a lot of, and if you've noticed, by the way, in the game they drop a lot of the other wizarding schools names, like some of the other characters talk about them. I'm like, we've never even explored that in the movies.
Right.
That could be really interesting.
You talking about like from like the Goblet of Fire when they talk about like Bobatons and I forget the Russian one, but yeah.
The one they talk about in the game is a girl from South Africa, and I don't even remember the name of it. It was a South African wizarding school.
Wizarding school. It's a complete different. Yeah.
Nice.
And they talk about how they don't use wands there. They're like, where we're from, we it's all hand magic. There's no wands. And I'm like, whoa.
That's a
That's
really
like-
cool notion.
Yeah, it's like they're adding on to the lore, which is I think pretty interesting. But
Very
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, Hogwarts doesn't have a photo mode, by the way, but they should.
They should.
That often comes later, and I'm always like, man, I would think if you want a lot of content,
Mm-hmm.
really having that at launch would be so clutch. But that's okay. So anyway, that's it on that. I'm just surprised to hear. I think that there will be DLC. I think the way he's saying there are no current plans makes it sound like, but there might be future plans. Like, you know what I mean? We just haven't really started anything.
Right.
So I want to talk about Atomic Heart. So Atomic Heart is a new game that is now out, and it's available on Xbox Game Pass for subscribers. And this is a full AAA title. It's in the vein of BioShock. It has a 72 on Metacritic. And I want to just read a few. We did this last week with what was that game called? Wild Hearts.
Wild Hearts.
Wild Hearts. Yeah.
And I wanted to just kind of go through. And so this is from Game Mag. They gave it a 70. Atomic Heart is an interesting case of ambitious scientific experiment. Even if not everything went smoothly, the results are still fun, exciting, and a bit uneven. What matters here is a brave attempt at something rather bold. And who knows what tomorrow will bring, as practice makes perfect. But Games Radar Plus gave it a 50 and is a little harder on them. Atomic Heart has a lot of big ideas, but it doesn't do good enough job with the basics. With an incomprehensible storyline, weightless combat, and frustrating first-person platforming, Atomic Heart is left to stand in the shadow of the video games that so clearly inspired it. But DualShockers gives it an 84. They said, despite a few missed opportunities to really build on the great games it's inspired by, Atomic Heart surprised me with a remarkably inventive world that brings to life and tears apart the weirdest, wildest visions of Soviet propaganda. This is a game that's been through half a decade of development hell and came out on the other side as one of the best first-person shooters this generation.
Dang.
So a mixed bag.
Yeah, the promo video that I have on the background right now looks incredible, though. Like, it definitely looks like that, like, dystopian BioShock kind of like Rapture, city in the sky future type thing.
Yeah, it's definitely footage you should look up. It's, I think, fidelity wise, I think it looks remarkable.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. The thing that I'm seeing negative wise is like copying BioShock, repetitive stories.
BioShock,
bad.
you can see that influence. Like, it's just sitting right there, especially narratively too. Like this alternate reality Soviet Union narrative. Which is kind of always what BioShock had going for it too. Not only is the gameplay look BioShock, but the narrative is like, oh, this like historical dystopian idea of, you know, I suppose that the only one that like associated directly with a country was BioShock Infinite, which was America. But
yeah, so Andy, are you still wanting to play this one?
that's the best part of Game Pass, man. Like, yeah, I'm going to totally play this because it's a giant AAA game that I have access to now. So I'm definitely going to jump onto it before next week's podcast. And I would like to give, a few thoughts.
Who's the developer again?
That's a great
Focus
point.
something, right? Something. No,
Atomic Heart is developed
Mundfish.
by Mundfish and published by Focus Entertainment and for Divinity.
What else has Mundfish made?
Atomic Heart
Is that it?
and Soviet Luna Park VR in 2018.
Interesting.
Oh, it never was released. To be determined. User score. I guess that means it wasn't released.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems, especially if you have Game Pass, it seems like a worthwhile one to check out.
Is it an Xbox exclusive?
It's not exclusive. It's on everything.
Oh, okay.
It's just on Game Pass, which again, it lauded its praises. That alone makes it almost feel exclusive because yes, you can get it on everything, but the value of an Xbox owner right now, you just get it. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's $50 on Steam or $70 for a physical copy for PS5.
Dang.
Yeah. Which
Full
is
price.
7 months of Game Pass.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
could be good and it could be bad. It's my argument with going to the movies, but
when something's free,
yeah, why not?
like
Try it
we
out.
already have it, you're more likely to give it a chance. And then if it is bad, like all these reviewers, if a game's only a 50 or a 60 out of 100, like no big deal. Like you didn't pay anything more. Like you're, especially if you're playing other games on Game Pass too, like you weren't banking on this to be great. Like I don't know, I think that's awesome.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, let us know how it is.
Yeah, I will. So this is some fun news. Speaking of Microsoft, they signed a 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo consoles. This comes from Levi Winslow at Kotaku. Microsoft's president and vice chairman Brad Smith announced today that Microsoft and Nintendo have now negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox, with full feature and content parity, so they can experience Call of Duty just as the Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. The statement reads, "We are committed to providing long-term equal access to Call of Duty to other gaming platforms, bringing more choice to players and more competition to the gaming market."
That's very interesting to hear
Jeez.
because every new Call of Duty is 100 gigabytes or more
Yes.
to download, and they're very graphically rich, and
Yes.
they depend heavily on a really solid internet connection for a good online multiplayer experience. So I'm wondering if this is a way that Xbox and Microsoft is investing in the infrastructure of Nintendo, because they've infamously had a really bad online co-op experience.
Yes, a horrible one. And this is a 6-year-old device gonna try and play newest games. I
It's
just
going to
don't
be
see it happening.
such a low frame rate at such a low resolution.
The only thing I could think of, and I saw this on Twitter somewhere, was that they have an insight that they're about to drop a new Switch this year that's going to be
Yeah, and I mean, if
bomb.
it's a 10-year contract, I mean, like it's inevitable that a new system's going to come out.
It
past
doesn't,
that
it doesn't have
range.
to be this year. Yeah,
correct.
exactly.
It could be 2 years in the future, and
But
it's
they
still
have them
fine.
locked in for, 10 years. So they could try, I guess, to put out some Call of Duty mobile-esque in between mobile and... Because I remember during COVID, we were playing, Andy, I think you were playing too. We would play at lunch from home. We were playing on iPads, iPhones, all
Yeah.
against just to try it. And so I could see it. But like you said, Houston, multiplayer, even on Nintendo games themselves, like actual first party games are trash. They
What I keep thinking about it is, if you have both,
Mhm.
releasing it on Nintendo is literally losing no money for Microsoft, because like the person's still gonna buy it on the better. Like if you have an Xbox and a Switch and you're gonna get Call of Duty, you're gonna get it on the Xbox. Why would you get it on the Switch? Like you're gonna get exclusive on it. But if you only have a Switch, well, then like Microsoft loses money by not having it on it. The way I see it is, I think it's a smart decision. I think there's lots of kids out there that are like, oh, I really want to play this game, but mom and dad only got me a Switch, and I can't get two or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they have one and they got older a little bit. You know what I mean? They got a Switch when they were 6, but now they're 10.
Yeah.
Like that's a massive swing. So I can see it. I don't think there's going to be any power gamers like just like slap it. And in fact, I was thinking about how it'd be really funny how like I can't wait to get on Call of Duty and all the terrible kids.
I can finally win.
There you go.
I can beat 4-year-olds,
Boosting those prestige levels.
or the other way around, and the kids are better than everyone.
Yeah, there you go. So a follow-up question would be: is there an inkling of a sense that Game Pass could be coming to Switch now? Is that a
No.
possibility?
I don't think
even
so.
cloud.
No, I don't think so.
It wouldn't take much.
It's
I
a browser applet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think from a technical standpoint it takes much. I think it's actually the legal loopholes is too much. The deals that Nintendo has with all of its independent games and publishing stuff that now no one's buying because they can play it on Game Pass on that system now. I think it complicates things a little bit. I'm not saying that they couldn't do it, It seems unlikely, and Nintendo has said in the past, like, absolutely not. I mean, anyone can change, but I would be surprised.
Do we know what
Yeah.
the dollar amount was for this deal?
Mm-mm.
For this 10 year? I'm just curious.
It's probably like a royalties based thing. It probably wasn't like an upfront cash thing.
Yeah, or a mixture.
Now I could see multiple points in this deal though, where, like, let's say Microsoft owns Rare, which was much more successful on the Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
When they re-release Perfect Dark, that should go on a Nintendo console. When they release, if they ever do Banjo-Kazooie or like those, like
Speaking
that
into existence.
that should be on a Nintendo console, in my opinion. It shouldn't just be like, if you look at Ori and the Blind Forest, Microsoft let that go to Nintendo. There are some games that Microsoft does because they know they can get sales and it benefits Nintendo can take a share of that. Like, so I do think there's a back and forth. What would be really surprising is if Nintendo let some of its properties on Microsoft consoles. I don't see that happening at all.
No, I don't think so.
I think, I don't want to say at all, it's not going to be Mario, Zelda, the big ones, but I could perhaps see some titles, maybe older titles. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there with you, but that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Only the future will tell.
Only the future will tell. Well, let's move on from that news. We want to talk about, and I'm going to let Preston lead this one. There's some new news from WWE 2K23. Preston, why don't you go ahead and lead this one?
Yeah, so they announced some updated modes and a new mode, and they also released the superstars, the wrestlers, and all of their ratings, I think, last week. So that's kind of exciting. The biggest news in all of this that I was excited to see is War Games. And it's kind of an interesting, I don't know if either of you guys know what that even is,
I know what that means.
but it's an actual match that they have in some of the bigger pay-per-views, and basically it's two wrestling rings put together side by side and a cage around it, and so it's just
I'm looking at a screenshot right now.
ridiculous.
Good Lord. That's so intense.
Yep. And so basically it features a couple of different teams inside two rings and then surrounded by a cage. So it's usually not just a one-on-one, obviously.
Yeah, it looks like there's like 8 people on that ring.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Something else that came with 2K22, and if people don't remember, we skipped 21 because 20 was a debacle and horrible.
We talked about that, yeah.
But they added the Creation Suite back, and it is amazing, and people have been creating like ridiculous people. And Logan Paul, and then he ended up in WWE after a bunch of people created him. Not sure if that
that's
lined
wild.
up because of that, but people create old wrestlers, new wrestlers, all of that.
Can you make like ridiculous looking people too, like monsters?
Oh yes, you can make anything. Like I've seen the Monopoly Man in there. It's ridiculous.
Did he have a monocle?
Yes, but he
That's
doesn't
awesome.
in Monopoly.
The Monopoly Man did not have a monocle.
Correct.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, that's a Mandela effect thing, right?
Yep.
It is.
They also brought back the My GM mode, which is pretty cool. It's more like a simulation versus actually wrestling. And you have to complete quests and things like that. But when you're setting up, whether it be Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, you can simulate the matches or you can wrestle every one of them if you wanted to, which would take forever. But and then the main mode this year is going to be John Cena playing against him and trying. Exactly. The commercials are hilarious because it's just a floating hat and his floating headbands, and they leaned into the "you can't see me," which is
That's
hilarious.
incredible.
I get this every year that it comes out, so I'm super excited to see a new.
So I do have.
2K23.
I would like, maybe you could look into this, press and talk about it next week. But like the My Faction card game thing.
Yeah.
I know that in the past 2K, the 2K NBA 2K,
Yeah.
had like a card system that was kind of loot boxy and
Yeah.
was like it was actually controversial as far as microtransactions and loot boxes go, and it was used as like one of the cases when like they were getting sued and like they or not sued, but I think it was going to like different like governments. Like I even watched like one of the like I think it was a British Parliament meeting to try to like ban it.
Yep. It's
I'm just curious, is
very
that the
similar.
same kind of card system?
Yes. Almost
Mm.
identical. It's loot boxes. It's you want to move up and you might get a super rare card, but the chances are very slim. But if you spend more money, yeah. It's been that way.
Well, then dads and players of that game just be aware. I
Yeah.
guess.
Pay to
You
win.
get coins or points every match in any of the game modes
Yeah.
that you can use to buy that,
But the,
or
the
you
trade
can
value is probably astronomically different, right?
Yes.
It's like probably like 10,000 to 1 kind of thing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So never been my cup of tea to play any of those type of games within a game, as we were saying earlier. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
super excited about 2K23 though.
It just depends on what it means. Like if those cards are direct stats to then if you play online, you're just straight up better than your opponents. Like if it's pay to
Yeah.
win, I think that's where it gets kind of like, this sucks. Like I don't even want to do this. I just want it to be like, if I'm better than you, I'm better than you.
Right.
That's how you
Sure.
should win.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think it's fun to have RPG elements in games for sure. But I think that's where I like personally either cooperative games
Yeah.
or single player. Like I don't RPG elements get confusing and complicated when it's competitive, and it's hard to, and it's just too easy to make something. I mean, from 2K or EA, you know, both of those companies are known for are making those pay to win and especially gambling models.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know,
So
that's a
do
tough
you-
one. You know, I play Hearthstone. And I find that there is a bit of a like opening card packs, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
But they also have like duplicate protection, like you can't get the same card twice, and did it like as far as like the rare ones or whatever.
Right.
And so there's some parts of it that they've done a good job, but it hasn't always been perfect either. Like it's I don't know where I stand on microtransactions. I think it's okay, but I think that you know, people talking about and reviewing games like us and users should be very aware and should call people out if you think it's abusive and you're like, this is like, I don't know, because it can
Especially-
be gambling for kids. If
Yeah,
we're not
as
careful.
dads, that's what I was going to say next is like it's so easy. I know Andy, you have the oldest kids here and playing Fortnite or things like that, they're wanting to upgrade and having to spend money just knowing that is a
Mobile games are way worse. So
Oh, yeah.
iPad games, Noah comes to me and is like, Dad, can I get this? I can get all these gyms. And I'm like, and he knows math pretty well, but value is something hard for a kid. Value. And I go like, okay, if I buy this for you, what's it get you?
right.
And how long would it take you to get that in real life? And then even if it would take you a long time in real life to get that,
What does
how
it
long
give
until you need to spend another $10? Like, does it really get you
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
but then this $20 game on the PlayStation store that like will provide you way more fun. It's like, it's
Yeah.
hard to, but like they're zoned in. They're like, I just want this character in this game or whatever. It's hard,
Exactly.
man.
So
the mobile
one
games industry has been ridiculous about that kind of stuff.
100%. One question I would
Go
have
ahead.
about the 2K stuff or 2K in general, when do you guys think they will leave last gen and just I was kind of bummed that this wasn't PS5, Xbox One X, whatever the newest their naming structure is complete garbage, but
They won't until. So PlayStation Studios, for example, any PlayStation exclusive game is now from here on out will be
Yep.
PS5 only.
right.
I think the very last one was God of War. We talked about that.
Yep.
But PlayStation has a reason for doing that. Well, not only do they make the console, but now from here on out, all the games will be higher fidelity, will be better, will represent the PlayStation brand better. But someone like 2K or EA, I don't see why they care for games like that. I think that they're saying we just care about sales, and there are still 120 million PS4s out there in the wild.
Yeah.
So why? There's only about how many PS5? What I'm gonna
I
look
think we're
that up.
close
How
to
many-
30 million, something like that.
Yeah. So you got 30 million PS5s. You're like, why would you do that? That makes no
you're
financial
losing a
sense
lot of money.
unless the sale of your game is a little bit dependent on fidelity and performance.
Yeah.
If it is, and you're trying to sell that next gen experience, then okay.
Yeah.
You can't do that if it's eventually we're going to get to the
2K
point where
game's
you
not
just
gonna
can't
do
do
that.
that.
Correction. Forbes says 32 million now as of this month.
That's fire. That's awesome. I wonder did it say what Xbox is at? Out of curiosity.
Oh, let me click on it. Let's see.
Clickety click. All right, who's gonna pre-order me 2K23?
Christine, you still on here?
It comes out next month, by the way.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't AEW Fight Forever supposed to be this month?
I think so.
I looked it up, and it was like it was supposed to be
February
this month.
2023. Yeah,
But now it's just like this year. Like if you go to Amazon, I looked, and it says December 31st this year, which isn't a real date. It's just a placeholder date.
So something interesting about that.
Okay.
And this is a little bit out of video games, but bear with me for a second. AEW, WWE, two different companies. WWE got in some trouble. Vince McMahon stepped down. Their ratings went through the roof. They've had the best last 6-7 months in a long time financially. And it's just more entertaining to watch now. Well, AEW is slowly going down now just because WWE's top dog. And I'm wondering if that has to do with what's happening as well. So are funds leaving AEW and going to WWE, or just leaving AEW overall, and they're not able to push through? I don't know.
It could also be Ukes developing AEW, and maybe their company just really is not that great at developing games, because it seems their history is the shaky one. They blamed it on 2K, but maybe it wasn't them. All 2K.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Real quick on that Forbes article. So I forgot about this, but Xbox hasn't been releasing sales numbers because they don't want to play the comparison game. But the best estimate is that there is a 10 to 12 million unit gap currently, and that gap is projected to continue to widen over the years.
It will. I think that Game Pass, if it can continue to catch on and provide value, that gap will lessen. I think that's their strongest point and standpoint. They just need some exclusives, man. Not small ones too. They need some God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted, these Spider-Man, these big games.
Do you not think the exclusives with PlayStation can compete with what you basically just said with Xbox Game Pass?
I think it can compete. No, that's what I'm saying. I think Xbox needs a little bit more than Game Pass to actually to level the playing field.
Yeah, beyond just Halo and Forza.
Game Pass is an amazing sell for them.
Yeah. Halo and Forza are great, but they need 2 or 3 more.
I think PlayStation 2 is on the track to they bought Destiny, but the developer Bungie, right? And I think that if I would bet so much money. There's no way to prove this, I suppose, but they have some type of competitive first-person shooter military game in development, because if Call of Duty goes away, they're gonna want something. And what if it is exclusive, something that's like Battlefield or Call of Duty?
I think they just do Destiny 3 and just make it exclusive.
I think they are going to do Destiny 3. They have a lot of studios. I would think they would. It seems to me they're trying to match all the different. Destiny is more like Halo, right?
It's almost identical. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But if Microsoft owns Call of Duty, what game is like that? What is their Call of Duty? I think they would do something. I don't know what that is. It's not Killzone.
You think Sony tries to grab Battlefield?
No. Well, actually, there was a while there where EA was.
Is that EA? Yeah.
EA was suggesting trying to sell, which with Activision going to Xbox and then EA going to PlayStation would be the most bananas thing ever.
That would be
huge amounts of money.
The problem is that Microsoft is a much, much bigger game than PlayStation, and it's not by a small amount.
Right.
They can afford to spend $70 billion. I don't think PlayStation can actually do that. As big and as many different like SKUs and different verticals that they're in, I don't think that they can handle buying a game like a company like EA. Now they could buy just Battlefield or something like that.
Yeah, Sony's net worth in the past couple of years has only been around 100 billion. So
Yeah.
there's no way they could stomach that.
And that's
I mean,
to be-
but we're also saying Sony versus Microsoft, right? Like
That's what we're saying. A $1 trillion company
Which-
versus a
which you
$100
can't
billion
compare it
company,
like that.
10 times larger.
You would have to compare it, the gaming sector of that.
what I'm
versus-
saying is that
right? You
Microsoft
can't
has the
compare
power to
Microsoft
invest in something like
Yeah.
because they have the capital in a way that Sony
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, that would bankrupt Sony as an entire company if they made a
Right.
similar purchase.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And actually Microsoft is 1.87 trillion. So no, it's 20. It is
Almost
a 20
2 trillion.
it is a
Good
20
Lord.
times difference.
18.
So okay, yes, we can be clear. I was rounding. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna get off. We've been talking about WWE and we kind of rabbit trailed, but I thought that was all really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
The console war thing to me is made up ultimately. I think it's fun for the listener to like compare and fight. At the end of the day, for me, gaming is gaming. I now have both consoles. I want to see both of them be amazing. And if you're a PC gamer out there, I think that's awesome too. I think you actually do get to enjoy like the best of gaming. I just don't
Competition's a very good thing.
I just don't have the
Yes.
money right now to get a really awesome PC setup, but I want to. And I'm sure I will. So let's talk about PS Plus. We're going to pivot to PlayStation a little bit more. They had a crazy February update for their PS Extra and Premium tiers, which is what basically PS Now used to be, but it's, I think, better and stronger than ever. If you are a PS Extra member, and this is coming from Connor McCarr at VG247, you get Horizon Forbidden West this month.
Wild.
That to me is competitive to Game Pass, right? Like that
Yeah,
is
100%.
that's a massive drop. A year later, that you get. I'm pumped. I don't have the time to play it, but I'm like, maybe I should play that instead of Atomic
one
Heart.
day.
What was that, Preston?
One day.
Yeah.
It's just a big game, man.
Yeah.
Especially I'm getting off all these,
Didn't-
just I've been playing a lot of big open world games.
I was looking at the list. Didn't you play Open Outriders? I mean,
I loved Outriders.
Yeah, you
Loved
did.
it. Did you play it?
no, I just saw it on the list though.
Preston, I think you would like it. I would play with you. I'd play with you. I'd jump in and we should just play for a few hours.
Let's do it.
It is
It's
it is
free.
one of those games that's like the storyline I think is just stupid.
Yeah.
But like what you're doing, you're like, this is fun. This
Yeah.
is just fun. We're
Let's do
just
it.
killing people and blowing things up and
Right
like,
now, podcast over.
let's do it.
Just cut it.
Let's play. No, it's 3-player squads too. You can only play with like that's your team size.
Hey, there's 3 of us.
Man, I can't math that fast. But that'd be cool. They have a DLC. I almost wish it was included, but I can see why it's not. Also, the Quarry, which is if you like, the Quarry is kind of like the successor from the people that made the game. Oh man, what's it called? What's that game called? It's like a Michelle and I played it. I'm just blanking. Until Dawn. It's from the Until Dawn developers. Until Dawn is kind of a horror survival game where you're like making choices. It's really fun. My wife and I played it together. It's one of the few games we've played. I've talked about that before. But
Is this the one with Rami Malek, or is the Until Dawn the one with Rami Malek?
Until Dawn is the one with Rami Malek. But I do think they have some stars in the Quarry in the same way. Some other games on there, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard was a big hit. Outriders, Scarlet Nexus, Borderlands 3, Tekken 7. You can kind of go down the list. There's a bunch more. But what I kind of want to pivot to now, and I think Houston can really share on, there are 3 PS1 games and an old PS4 game that they got added to the premium tier. And one of those is The Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, that was a cool get for PlayStation Premium. Now it's been ported and like re-released to, like PS3, I think, like a few years back.
Hmm.
But it's cool like for PS5 owners that maybe didn't grab it when they had a chance back then to be able to kind of relive a game that's now 23 years old, because I think it came out in 2000. I did a little bit of
Oof.
refresher and research, and
Yeah.
I actually played it just for like just a few minutes before we started today, just to kind of refresh my memory. But it is a essentially a competitor to Final Fantasy VII, because Final Fantasy VII came out for the PS1 in 1997. I think it was like a launch window title, and then this came out during the same life cycle, and it was a similar game, gigantic 55-hour
Dang.
story, ridiculous storyline where like you're a warrior that can be imbued with the spirit of a dragon. You become essentially like a Power Ranger. But then the gameplay was a bit more unique because there was like quick time events, kind of like a dragon, where like you initiate attack, but it's turn based, and then when you attack, you have to like time your attacks, and then if you hit the button at the right time, you get bonuses and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Um,
So
but
quick
yeah,
time
it's
events, but like predating like God of War.
yeah. Before they called it that, they call them like additions, I think, in this game. But yeah, it's a crazy story. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you're not like a Japanese person living in that era. But it's a cool fantasy. Humans and
I feel
dragons
like
and
the vibe. I mean, I'm getting even some gamers that I would like, some friends of mine that I wouldn't have expected to be fans of that game. Like, were so excited, and I was like, oh, this needs my attention. Apparently,
yeah, it was a cool game because it was one of those games that had multiple discs. It was a 4-disc game for the PS1 where you got
Jeez.
through the first 10 hours, and then it's like, all right, insert disc 2, and then you had to like, it was so scary because the game would like be suspended in the RAM of the PS1, and then you literally had to pop it open while it was still on, like take out the disc and put the new one in, and then it would just kind of spin up. And it was crazy that it worked that
whoa,
way. I don't know if y'all played what was it called, Monster Rancher, where like you could take random CDs from your house and put them in, and it would read a code on the CD and spit out a monster for you to use as kind of like a
What?
Pokemon battle type thing. Same
I've
same concept.
never heard of that.
Heck yeah. I
I
think Monster
wanna.
Rancher was like an old like Saturday morning like Japanese
Wait, this is
cartoons thing,
PS1?
and they made it a video game.
Hmm.
Was that
Noah,
Preston?
It's PS1?
I think so. Yeah, and
Noah, Noah likes playing Slime Rancher. Probably.
But I think it's Monster Rancher is the game that I'm thinking of. But yeah, the whole multiple disc thing is like not a thing anymore because they can make Blu-rays and they're gigantic. Except for like I remember The Last of Us Part 2 had a data disc and then a play disc
Mm-hmm.
for PS4 because the game was so big. And
GTA
if you
did
didn't
that
get the
too.
digital download, you had to have the data disc, and then you had the play disc, which ran the code to unlock it essentially.
For the record, there is a remaster, Monster Rancher 1 and 2, that is on the Switch.
Nice. But
So,
unfortunately, it wouldn't have the same kind of
mhm.
interoperability and like the kind of interactiveness that putting those
Yeah.
CDs in the PS1 would have. There was
These were
another like, go ahead.
these were DX games back in the day.
There was another just like a handheld game, kind of like a Tamagotchi type thing that had a
Mhm.
barcode scanner on it back in the day. That I remember you could go to like a supermarket and scan like a can of like corn, and it would do the same thing. It would give you a new monster based on the barcode. Just
In
giving some nostalgia throwbacks for those of us that are
in theory,
over the age
that's
of 25 here.
yeah, fairly cool. Yeah, I remember there were 2 discs for GTA, GTA 5 on the PS3.
Nice.
Really? I don't remember that
Yep.
at all.
There was a data disc that
Oh,
was
that's fair. I
eight
didn't play
eight
5, I guess.
gigs, I think.
Eight whole gigs, right?
Yeah.
Was the PS4 was what introduced the Blu-ray system, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
I remember playing adventure games. My first games I ever played, like there was this game called, I think it was called Loom. On
Heard
it
of
was
that.
like, anyway, it was on, they were on floppy disks, and I remember we had
Oh
two
man.
we had 2 floppy disks for the game, and I remember like I never got to the second disc. I like tried to get like play the game far, and I would get stuck, and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And this is before
Yeah.
I had an internet access to look things up. So it was what it was.
Really dating ourselves in this episode, huh?
Well, guys. Yep.
Anyway, so that's it for now. I did want to keep going a little. We have a few more things to talk about. Hopefully when we get to the end of this news. I know we've already been going a bit long. I want to talk about a state of play. Today for us is Wednesday, February 22nd, that we're recording this. Tomorrow on Thursday, the 23rd, it is at 4 p.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern time. No, is that correct? That's not correct.
It is
1 p.m. Pacific would be 4 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
That is correct. I said it correct. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So if you're checking on, you can go check that out. PlayStation blog, Brett Elston says, get ready for new looks at some anticipated games from our third-party partners, as well as a first glimpse of 5 PlayStation VR 2 games set to arrive later this year. Then settle in for more than 15 minutes that makes it okay, of all new gameplay details and updates on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, the next game from Rocksteady Studios.
I saw Rocksteady Studios and was like, wait a second. Nope, not Rockstar.
Not Rockstar.
No.
Poor Preston has been waiting with bated breath for the announcement for GTA 6 for so long.
Yes.
So Rocksteady makes the Arkham games for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another excellent developer.
Yeah. So I actually am very excited for that game. I think it looks
awesome.
I've always been a little more excited than that than the Batman. I know it wasn't called Batman. It was called Gotham Knights, but I've always been a little more excited for this one. It just looks cool. It reminds me of Sunset Overdrive, if you ever played that game. Like, it's got this like very vibrant look to it.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I don't know. Because
it's still pretty gritty though.
But the Arkham games were always set in the night, right? It was always Gotham at night and it was dark and it was brooding. I don't even think there was a day scene.
No, I don't think so.
But like this is like full daylight. It looks really cool. But I'm excited. 15 minutes isn't a lot, but if maybe they'll go into deep detail on that. And I'm excited for third-party partner anticipated games. I want to know what that is. So that'll be pretty fun. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to tune in for that.
Should be a good one.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot to talk about, but PSVR 2 just released. And as far as the critical consensus goes, this is from Marie DL. I apologize if I butcher this. Marie D'Alessandri at gamesindustry.biz. She just summarizes all the reviewers by saying reviewers were convinced by Sony's new cutting-edge VR headset and poster child Horizon Call of the Mountain, but it might not be enough to justify the costly investment because the PSVR 2 is not cheap.
$550 US.
Yeah.
Which is $50 more than the disc version of the PS5. We've talked about that, yeah.
Yep.
Correct. And if you were to compare that to like the Oculus Quest 2,
which is
or the Oculus
on sale, the
Quest Pro is what I mean. It's like $1,500.
$1,500, which the total investment would be less.
Yes.
To get the PSVR 2 system.
For sure. And you walk away with a PS5, which is pretty cool.
So with the Quest Meta or the Meta Quest Pro, I know I have the Quest 2 and I can play a lot of the games, but I can't play a good bit of them too because I don't have a PC.
Yeah. And
so I'm wondering if
obviously I think PlayStation is the only really exclusive games. They have exclusive PlayStation games that you can't get on the Quest
right now.
Which, regardless of what you think about exclusives, if you're against them or for them, that's just the reality. They have games that are exclusive that you can't play on Quest.
Yep. So my big gripe, honestly, with it right now is the cable. Like,
is that a big deal for you?
I understand it, but like with my Quest,
yeah, you can get spoiled. I played on one of those before too. It's amazing.
Yeah, but like without the cable, like I'll just play it up here, and then I'll take it downstairs, or I'll take it to somebody's house. Like I've done that plenty of times, and so.
Yeah, the Quest kind of has more of a like a parlor trick party element to it, where you're like, I'm gonna bring it to this social gathering and let people try it and be funny. But like at the end of the day, I feel like that's fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times, like games are for me. Like at the end of the day, like I want to buy something for me. Like,
Right.
and at home, the question for me is, I wonder having that cable, will that cable disappear? Like in my mind, like will I stop even
Yeah.
perceiving it's there because the game is just so immersive?
Yes.
And if
I
it
would-
does, then maybe it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's a tough call, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think like some VR games you can actually play seated. It's just like the immersion is just from like literally just looking around. You don't necessarily have to be standing. So like I think in that case, like a cable's totally passable. You can just take a chair right in front of your TV and just go for it.
Yeah. I don't
But yeah.
dislike it, but I do think, like you're saying, it's pricey. That's oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely a niche market for VR enthusiasts, and
Mhm.
that's really not that high of an investment for them because I mean these people have $2,000+ PCs with a $1,500 VR set on top of that.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, if you think about it that way in the grand scheme of things, it's not at the very bottom, but it's also nowhere near the top of the price range.
Right.
It's so interesting because, and I think we talked about this on a previous podcast, but normally accessories aren't more expensive than the console.
Correct.
And if you might not classify this as an accessory. You may be like, no, this is a system that's using the PS5, but it's its own ecosystem and system, which I think you could see it as that. But I kind of see it as an accessory, as an extra thing. I mean, the majority of my games are going to be normal PS5 games. They're not going to be these games.
You can almost think of it like its own console, though.
It kind of is.
Because
that's dependent on the
gives
PS5, though.
Yeah, but it only gives you access to games that you literally cannot play otherwise.
Yes.
True.
Without it. So yeah, if you want to rationalize it that way, if you're like, oh man, like I really want to play VR, but I don't know if I could spend the extra money on that. Like that's a way to think about it if you really want to kind of get into it. Or you can just wait for the next sale on the MetaQuest 2 and just go for something a lot cheaper.
I do enjoy. Now I want to go play VR.
Go play some Beat Saber, bro.
The reviews here I'm reading is that it is significantly more powerful than the Quest 2 as far as fidelity and like
yeah.
Well, yeah, because
experience.
it's the
PS5.
PS5 powering it. So yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Well, I guess the Quest 2 you can still hook up to your PC. I mean, you can still have the power behind the headset.
I will say the optics and the tracking on the Quest 2 is pretty dang impressive. It's really good.
Yeah.
So
think behind
apparently, PlayStation
Competent PC, it's really solid.
Yeah.
I definitely think the biggest improvement is the controller system. I think having to use those old Move controllers was really lame on the original PSVR. It's nice having the new controllers. So
I agree, but I also read people are somewhat upset about that because you can't play the old PSVR games on this. It's not backwards compatible.
Yeah, because the Move controllers don't work on PS5, I don't think.
Yep.
Nope.
So-
it's an out of date console. It still works with PS4, I guess. It's just that's technology. Sometimes not everything's going to be backwards compatible.
Yeah.
But I do sympathize with that. Obviously, I would prefer not only for like the financial, like I bought this, I want to keep playing it, but also for like the preserving games into the future. I think backwards compatibility is such a big deal.
So and I'd like to believe that the popular ones will be ported.
Yeah.
Yeah. The popular ones will be.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see Astrobot. We'll see like some of those games.
Was Dreams a VR game?
I
Not
don't
Dreams.
know.
There was like a like another like game builder game, but a VR version, and I forget which one it was. Anyway,
Good stuff.
so yeah, that's it as far as game news for the week. I don't know how long we've been going. Probably a little over an hour at this
14
point.
hours.
Yep.
14 hours.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us, guys.
Marathon stream.
Christine is probably asleep at this point.
Does it still say we got that viewer, huh?
Yeah.
Ride or
It's
die.
just, it's just a test stream. But thanks, Christine. We appreciate you. Happy birthday. So what are you doing for her birthday? Are you said you're having people over at her house? Is that
Yep.
it? Is that it?
And then on her actual birthday, we're going to a restaurant here in Baton Rouge called Solu, which we love.
Oh yeah. Very good things.
I like Solo.
It's so good.
Rest in peace, Calera Street Grill. They just shut down.
No.
Mhm.
Where Where was that?
Under the overpass
Oh,
on
yeah.
Perkins.
We went one time and it was
Yeah,
awesome.
same.
That's why y'all went one
Yeah,
time.
we went for the first time last month actually for our
To
anniversary.
be fair though, I don't do fine dining a lot. There's special occasions for me. And I consider that a place, a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice.
So, I mean, well, really, it's the people who frequent fine dining that I'm disappointed in.
So everybody that's listening right now that isn't from Louisiana, come support our restaurant industry. We have the best food.
We do, hands down.
Mhm. It's all fried, but it's the best.
Most of it is fried, yes,
So good.
or blackened.
Yes.
I do like blackened, but
I
I'm gonna
do
be
too.
honest. I don't go to a lot of places that like feature blackened seafood or anything.
Just
Like it's
shout out if you're not from here and you come down to Baton Rouge, go to Chimes, get you the blackened alligator appetizer. You
Yep.
won't regret it. So good.
I mean, honestly, man, just their club sandwich blackened is really good.
Oh, I'm hungry.
welcome to Food Talk,
Welcome to
Food Casual.
Food Pros. We're casual gamers, professional eaters.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, I think that will probably do us for this week. I think it was a fun one. Thanks for anyone who watches on YouTube, or eventually we're going to be on Twitch, I think, and we got all kind of different things. But thank you guys so much. Go ahead and subscribe. We didn't do that at the top of the episode. I forgot. Make sure to
Smash
follow us on all social media
button.
platforms, from Instagram to Twitter, and everywhere else. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And this has been Dad Casual.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.